Launch out and let down. I remember a familiar story. Once a salt doll journeyed for thousands of miles and stopped at the edge of the sea. It was fascinated by the huge waves moving rhythmically. The salt doll had never seen such a massive wave before. "What are you?" asked the salt doll to the sea waves. "Come and see," said the sea with a smile. So the doll got in. The further it went, the more it dissolved till there was only a pinch of it left. Before that last bit dissolved, the doll explained in wonder, "Now I know what I am." Saint Peter, who was thoroughly fascinated by the mighty sea, Jesus himself, and walked into it. At last, when he saw the mighty power of the Master in the catch of the fish, he was like a fully dissolved doll. Thus, like the salt doll, he exclaimed, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinner." The salt doll said, "Now I know what I am." Peter knew he was a sinner. Today, like Peter, am I ready to launch and let my net down in the mighty sea of Jesus to know who I am? The readings of the fifth Sunday invite us to launch out and let down our net. Once we launch out and let our net in deep water, then we will realize, like Isaiah, like Saint Paul and Peter, that we are unworthy and unsuitable to serve the Lord. The first reading is on the call of prophet Isaiah. But Isaiah says, "Woe is me, I am lost, for I am a man of unclean lips, and I live among a people of unclean lips." Isaiah chapter 6 verse 5. In the second reading, Paul feels unfit to be called an apostle because he persecuted the church of God. He says, "I am the least of the apostles, in fact, because I persecuted the church of God. I do not even deserve that name." 1 Corinthians chapter 15 verse 9. The gospel, when St. Peter is overwhelmed by Christ's power, when they catch a great number of fish in their nets that have remained empty through a night's fishing, his humble reaction is the same. Peter said, "Depart from me, Lord, for I am a sinful man." Luke chapter 5 verse 8. My dear friends, if Isaiah, Paul and Peter are not worthy to serve the Lord, how much less worthy are we? Their responses are our responses too. That is, to serve and to take on the journey of conversion. That is, to accept the invitation to launch out and to let our net into the deep sea as Jesus commands. What can we learn from today's readings? First, obedience and trust. Jesus told Peter to launch out and let down his net into the deep sea for a catch. Peter obeyed despite his doubts and caught a large number of fish. This teaches us to trust God's instructions even when they seem illogical or impractical. In the book of Proverbs, chapter 3, verse 5 to 6, we read, "Trust in the Lord and submit to him always." In Isaiah, chapter 55, verse 8 to 9, we read, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways or my ways." Pope Francis says, the story of the miraculous catch of fish is a story of faith and obedience. Jesus asks us to welcome him into our lives, to begin again with him, and to set out on a new sea. Second, recognizing our sinfulness. When Peter saw the miraculous catch, he fell at Jesus' feet saying, "Go away from me, Lord, I am a sinful man." He didn't justify or hide his failures. This shows us the importance of humility and recognizing our own limitations and shortcomings. Like St. Peter, let us openly acknowledge our sinfulness and be willing to learn and grow. In Romans chapter 3 verse 23 we read, "For all have sinned and fall short of the glory of God." In Proverbs chapter 28 verse 13 we read, "Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy." 1 John chapter 1 verse 9, we read, "If we confess our sins, He is faithful and just, will forgive us our sins and purify us." Pope Francis says that the capacity to recognize oneself as a sinner opens people up to the astonishment of encountering Jesus. Third, leaving our old life behind. Peter and his partners left their nets and followed Jesus. This represents the call to leave our old lives and follow Jesus, surrendering our will to His. Peter's decision to follow Jesus meant leaving behind his livelihood and security. This teaches us to be willing to sacrifice our own interests and comforts to follow Jesus. We read something similar in Matthew chapter 16 verse 24 to 26, Mark chapter 8 verse 34 to 37, Luke chapter 9 verse 57 to 62, and Philippians chapter 3 verse 7 to 9. Are we ready to obey and trust in God's commandment to launch out and to let down our nets? Are we ready to recognize our sinfulness without justifying and hiding them? Are we ready to leave our old life behind in order to follow Jesus no matter the cost? Let us ask ourselves. Pope Francis beautifully says that the miraculous catch of fish is a message that people are called to fish for the souls of men and women in the sea of this world. Have a blessed Sunday. Live Jesus.